Okay, I think we're live. So I'm making this video for both of my Bio 101 classes. So this would be Fall 2018 Bio 101 Section 01 HP Hybrid and Fall 2018 Bio 101 Section 2 Hybrid. And one of these is being taught, so the Section 01 is being taught by myself and Professor Rhodes, and Section 2 is being taught by myself and Professor Neal. So pretty much the same class, same schedule, just different times. So I wanted to give you a quick tutorial on the syllabus and a little bit about the setup of the class, and then also going into Connect. Okay, so hopefully everyone has seen the announcement and how to get into Connect, and you've signed up for your account, and you have probably been in the Start Here folder, which is where I'm at. So I'm actually on student preview mode. So this is what you see when you come in, because we actually see, as instructors, we see differences in Connect and on our Blackboard. So keep that in mind when I'm toggling back and forth. Just realize that I'm going from one view to another. Okay, so this is the Start Here folder located right there, and you will see the welcome folder. You will see the lab agreement, which you need to print out and initial and date and sign and bring with you on your first day of class. You need to read the syllabus. I'll get to that in a minute. You need to make sure you're familiar with your JSarge email account, and also you need to make sure that you, see if I can scroll down here, you need to make sure that you read the setup of the class. So what I've done is try to explain to you how the class is oriented. So let me give you a little bit of clarification on this. So basically, since each class has two professors, we both have different functions, okay? So I am Professor Durkitz, and I am not located at in Virginia. Okay, so I'm actually not on Parham Road campus. So when you go into your class to do lab, you're going to see, in this case, you'll see Professor Rhodes, and in section 2, you will see Professor Neal. Okay, so keep that in mind, which is why in the syllabus and also in terms of communication that you need to write both of us because we are both teaching the class. Okay, in both cases, I am handling it's not that we both can't handle both things, but I am primarily responsible for handling the lecture portions, if you will, quote, lecture portions of the class, okay, which in a hybrid setting is for the most part online. The lab is what you're actually going to campus for, and you will take your tests in class, maybe one online, but for the most part, they'll be in class, and you will do your labs in class, and you will turn them in class. And you can ask both of us questions, obviously, but if you're writing us via email, make sure that you include both of us on your email. And if you have questions outside of that, feel free to either write us both, or you can ask Dr. Rhodes in class or Professor Neal. However you want to is fine. Okay, so let's go through the syllabus. I'm just going to pull up this one again. Let me be clear that this is for both the 01 HP section and 02 section, so don't let that confuse you. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up here, and I'm going to say open. This is a Word document in Microsoft Word, so make sure your computer will allow you to get into Word, or otherwise you may have trouble seeing it. But okay, so let me make it big here. All right, so this just gives you some information about us as far as where we're located and such, and you can read the contact policy. And let me just scroll down to some things that are important. I don't want to exhaustively go through it. You guys can read it. You're going to want to read this, and you're going to want to take the quiz, which I'll show you that button in a minute. So this is the email policy, the course description, what you had to have in order to take the class, what's included, um, and then the lab manual. Hopefully you have purchased that from the Reynolds bookstore. And this is the Connect. So this is that same link that I sent you through the announcements. It's also in the syllabus. Um, there's, and really for this, you can use, um, as far as the book goes, you can use any biology book per se. I mean, Biology 101 is Biology 101, but the Connect account is specific to the McGraw-Hill Raven book. So that's what the connection is. So as long as you sign up for this, you're going to have access to the ebook and the Learn Smarts and everything you need for the class. So you don't need to go out and buy something separate or a big book to walk around with. Okay, this talks about Blackboard and Blackboard Help and your hardware and the distance requirements that you need for this. The course logistics. So you'll want to make sure that you read through that about due dates, laboratory assignments. This is Netiquette means what you write online. So when you communicate with your professors or people in general online, there needs to be a certain amount of professionalism. You won't want to write us and be like, hey, hey you, or writing in all caps, or things like that. Also, you're going to want to make sure that you put your class number, so Biology 101, and then your section number on that email, because I have all of us, Professor Neal, Professor Rhodes, and myself, we all have multiple classes, and so if you don't put what class it's for, we have to sit there and dig through our attendance sheets and find out which class you might be in. So if you'd like a timely response, make sure that you put your class section in the title of the email. Okay. Some learning objectives, the course objectives. You'll see these over and over again. The grading information, it's pretty straightforward. Some caveats in there. How we grade assignments, midterms, in terms of progress reports, the weekly quizzes, which I will go over. You will have a genetics project brochure that's due at the end. We'll get into that. And then a schedule, it tells you what it corresponds to in the text, so what it's about, the objectives, what week it is, and then what lab. So for example, this week you're on chapter 1, you'll do the week 1 information and materials in Blackboard, and then in terms of lab on campus, you'll do lab 1. And it's pretty long, it goes through the schedule. We'll just keep going. It gets to when the project is due, the final exam date, some of the articulated learning outcomes. So this is across the board in Biology 101. Any kind of additional due dates, we actually have a discussion board that I would like for y'all to do. These are important dates for the semester. So these are all the important dates for fall, and then also specifically to the 16 weeks. So for example, classes have begun today. Last day to adjust your schedule if you're switching in and out of classes. Last day to drop with a refund, very important, September 5th. The last day to withdraw with a W, which is a grade of a W, is October 26th. Classes in on the 8th, and then you have the examination period from the 10th to the 15th. Attendance policy, make sure you read that very carefully. What we expect in terms of discussion board, what they need to look like, makeup policies, electronics, academic honesty policy or dishonesty policy. I like to say academic honesty. It goes into information there, student conduct policy, a little more on children and non-students on campus. You'll need to read that, student resources and student accommodations, and some information for you, emergency procedures, and a disclaimer that we've tried to make it as accurate as possible, but we're not perfect. And then of course copyright. So I know I've gone through that quickly, but you can read through it in detail and then take the quiz for it. I just wanted to go through it and kind of give you an idea of how it's set up. All right, so let's go back out of there and back into here. After you've read that, you will want to take the syllabus quiz, which is here, and you will want to make sure that you take that by August 27th at 11:59:59. Okay? All right, so that's pretty much the start here, and you can read it more in detail. I know I'm going through it quickly. All right, now, once you have your Connect account and you have done your start here, you've printed out your lab, you've signed it, and you're ready to kind of start your week, okay, so this is week 1, you will want to go into weekly material. Okay, this is going to be your lecture material. Okay, and the way this is set up is that it'll contain a variety of information. So there'll be some from Connects, there'll be some that's videos, PowerPoints, reading assignment, Learn Smart, quiz, different things. The quizzes are worth 20 points a piece, and they are designed to be your study guide. So there's not going to be a major study guide that comes out for each test. You're going to use your quizzes to study from. Okay, these quizzes are multiple attempt quizzes. They can be printed out. You can take them. My advice is to, when you go into the week, take the quiz. It doesn't matter what you get on it, just see what you know. Then study the material in the week if you prefer videos, if you prefer PowerPoint, if you prefer to read. Everybody learns differently, so this allows you some flexibility in terms of what's the best way for you to learn to study. And if you take the quiz at first and you make, let's say, 18 out of 20, then you probably don't need to spend a whole lot of time bogged down in the information. Okay, if you get a 6 out of 20, then you probably need to spend a little more time. Okay, and so the quizzes are nice because they give you a way to track how you're doing with that week's material instead of just sitting there and reading through the entire book and wondering if you're on track or not. Okay. So if I click on the folder, and each week is set up the same, so there won't be a lot of differences from week to week. I will put, if something is due that week, or like there's something specific for lab, then Professor Rhodes or Professor Neal will probably tell you if there's something specific for lab. But I also put in the week to week a little blurb about what lab it is for that week, and you will need your lab manual. So you will see videos. The videos and links look like this. Sometimes there's a picture. The PowerPoints are attached like this. So if you are a person that wants to read this you want to watch this video and then you want to look at the PowerPoint, fine. If you prefer just to look at the PowerPoint and then go right into the chapter, fine. This is, when you see a folder like this is the Connects information. Okay, all of this is freestanding in Blackboard. I would like for you to go through Connects via Blackboard, meaning use Blackboard as your main, your primary, your first line. So go into the class, go to the folder, and then click on the actual chapter folder for that week. And this is what it looks like when it's set up in Connects, okay? So Connects has lots of different functions. And if I sat here and tried to explain everything to you, we'd be here all day. So what I've done is pull things out of Connects that are relevant to you so that you can study the information for that week. So when it says Learn Smart is actually the chapter in the book that has the information. There's 1 point associated with this assignment, and what you have to do in order to get that point is you have to go into Connects, and at the bottom corner you will see a little button that says Practice. When you do all the practice questions for this chapter in Connects, you will receive a point in Blackboard. Okay, that's how it works. The quiz is different. The quiz is multiple attempt. So that means you can go in and take it as many times as you want. And it has a point value of 20. And also you can print it out. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about due dates. So if you look back at the syllabus, you'll see that the test 1, which is in late September, is on chapters 1 through 4. So all the quizzes, so the quiz on chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4 will all be due the night before the test. Okay, so all of them will be due the night before the test. Okay, so let me go back up here and I will click on it, click on this, and this will come up and you're going to want to say launch. Okay, so this for you, okay, once you have registered, you won't have to keep signing in. Okay, it'll automatically come up. I'm going to see if I can go into connects this way, but it may not let me because this is a student. This is asking if I'm a student and I'm not. So let me see if I can get in this way. This is what I was talking about, but it gets a little bit dicey when you're the instructor. So it may not let me, but let me see. Yeah. So it tells me I can't sign in. I can't sign in because I'm an instructor. For you, it will work fine. So I'm actually going to go to connect in a different way. Okay, you will take that, what I just did, you will take it that way. I have to go into it a little bit different. So if you'll just bear with me for one moment while I get into my account. And this is really what I don't want you to go into it this way because again, it has to do, I don't want you to get confused by it. There's my email address. And you can't see my password, so that's probably good, huh? All right, and I'm just going to click on one of the 101, like I said, both 101 section 1 and 101 section 2 are pretty much I have them set up very similarly in here. And I'll just go to this one. Fine. Okay. So I'm going to go into here. I'm just getting into basically where Blackboard will take you. And let me go down. Chapter 1. And when you see the little Blackboard sign there, that means that it's in Blackboard. So when I look at it, this is how it comes up. So this tells me, as far as, people always wonder what I see on my end. So on my end, I can go into any quiz and I can see that how many points it is, how many questions it is, and I can see how many students have registered for the class, and I can see who submitted it and who hasn't. Okay, for me, I don't have to go into Blackboard at all to see this. Now, I am going to see if I can get back to where I was. I think it basically kicked me out altogether. All right, let me log back in here. All right. Bear with me. I'm just going right back into the class. So it looks like some of you are getting into it because you're able to submit, so that's good. That also helps me, if I look at that, that helps me to see that people are actually getting into the quiz. And a lot of times, again, it's technology, and when it works great. It works really, really well. So um, if you find that you're having trouble going from Blackboard into Connect, a lot of times you need to switch your browser. So you need to go into Chrome or switch the different browsers because some of them have more trouble than others. But that's the first thing you need to do as far as troubleshooting before you write us and they're like, I can't get in, I can't get in. Sometimes it's just a browser issue. What maybe I'm using as a browser when I set it up doesn't mean it's not working. It just means that you need to go to a different browser. Okay, so I'm back in Blackboard and I'm clicking on chapter 1 again. And I'm going to click on the quiz. And I'm going to see if it will. I'm going to see if it'll let me back in this way. And it won't. So for you, again, once you've registered, it says it right here. You won't have to sign in to Connect again. Okay, but I'm the teacher and it doesn't really understand who I am. Okay, so for example, what should come up is it should tell you that you're going to start a quiz, and then you should see something that looks like this, except there shouldn't be an answer right here. So it asks you this, it tells you question 1 of 20, and you should be able to print it out if you want to, and again, you can go back to it, etc., etc. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Some of them you can see references to it. You can do different things in here. So I'm not going to mess around with it because this is the actual quiz itself. I'm just going to go back into Blackboard. Unfortunately, because I'm, again, like I said, because I have a different account than you do, I almost think it's easier from your end than it is on mine. So that's probably good. I'd rather it be easier for you. All right, so let me get back into the class. And you did see the little guy behind me. That is my youngest son. But they know that when I'm online, they're supposed to be quiet. So I think you did a pretty good job. All right, so we're back in. I'm going to go to weekly material again and just keep going through. But you basically see how it works. And when you go to Learn Smart, again, make sure that when you go to the Learn Smart, so that was a quiz, make sure that when you go to this, okay, Learn Smart, I'm probably going to run into the same problem. Yes, here you did. That you click, I'm not going to go into it because we'll be here all day. That you make sure that you click on the little, in the right hand or the left hand corner at the bottom, you will see an icon that says practice. And make sure you, let me see if I can get to it. I hate to try to explain these things and then not show them. Go back into Connect. Of course it says connected, but hey. There it is. And I believe that, again, it's not that you can't get into Connect this way. What is all this mess? Yes. Okay. Oh, thankfully it thinks I'm still in it, so we'll take it. All right. Again, it doesn't matter which one I go into. They're the same for me. You won't be allowed access to both of them like I am because it'll just give you the access to one of them. All right, so I'm going to go into, this time I'm going to go into that exact same assignment that I just showed you. So this is the Learn Smart assignment. Oh, so this, again, it shows me that 2 students in this section have already done it, 4 haven't, and 1 is in progress. So that's, again, some of the statistics that I can kind of see, or the status. So I have to look at this as a student like you would. But I'm really happy to see that because that tells me that people are able to log in and get the information. I never know on my end until the semester starts, unfortunately. And we'll just wait here. So as you can see, even for me, I mean, technology is technology. Just give it a minute. Well, everything seems like it's spinning, doesn't it? Okay. Oh, there it is. So this will come up. This is SmartBook. I guess all of you are in here, so it's making it slow for me. It's being bombarded with Reynolds biology students at the moment. Not necessarily a bad thing, eh? I hope everybody has had a great summer. Um, my kids here have actually already gone back to school, so they go back considerably earlier in the beginning of August than they do in Virginia in September. So it has its good points and it has its downside, I guess. Boy, I tell you, this thing's taking forever, isn't it? You can just fast forward through my talking. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it comes up. And you can, if this pops up first, you can, try all the questions at first if you want, because maybe you feel that if you've already looked at the PowerPoint, you might be able to just go through some of these questions on your own and be done with it. Or you can toggle back and forth between, this is the button that I was talking about, you can toggle back and forth between read and practice. So if I click on read, it's going to take me to the actual book itself, and I can go through that and I can see everything that's highlighted, and then the practice is right there. So you want to start at the beginning. I don't know why it goes to the end like that, but you start at the beginning, chapter 1, introduction. Wait for it to load. So as you can see, it's a fairly large book, so that's another reason that I want you to go through Blackboard to get to this. If you try to toggle around in here or play around in here on your own, it can get confusing. So that's why I would like for you just to go through Blackboard. Okay, once you've read it, or like I said before, if you want to try these first, or it doesn't really matter what order you do it in, but you must make sure that you go through all 12 items. Okay, so you have to answer every single question correctly before it will think that you are finished and give you the point. So a lot of people have issues with that. I get a lot of emails about, well, I read the material and it didn't give me a point. Well, not only do you have to read it, you have to answer these questions. Okay, so this is, when I say learn smart activity, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so um, let's just take this question for example. Let's say you're like, I'm just randomly, you know, clicking them all. Okay, or I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm not sure if that's right. So you can say, oh, okay, well, I wasn't unsure. Let's say I'm not sure about that. So it'll tell you, sorry, your answer is incorrect. and it'll tell you what the correct answer is. Okay, so if I wanted to, I could go back to read, I can go back and forth, I could do suggested resources, read about this, read about the question, or I can say okay, and it's going to give me a different question, but you can see at the bottom that there's still 12 items left. So you have to answer the number of questions at once in order to get your point. So I want to make sure that that's clear. Okay, it's 1 point because I'm well aware that people learn differently. However, with that said, the information from the quizzes is tied to the information in here and on the PowerPoints and on the videos. So make sure that you use this as a resource because there are quite a few chapters, as you can see from the syllabus. And although it sounds like, oh, it's only 1 point, well, after you go through about 20 of them, that's a lot of points. So just keep that in mind when you're going through this. All right, so I'm going to get out of Connects and go back. So now we're back in Blackboard, and we were in that Connects folder. And I'm just going to go back to the weekly folder. I don't need to go into Connect. This is a lot more seamless for you, so. Okay, I don't know why. I'm just going to go back to weekly material. All right, and then same thing. You'll do the same thing for week 2. So if I click on week 2, I'm just going to show you some differences here since I have it up. And so, like I was telling you before, in here, that's what the Connect folders look like. And then in this one, you know, sometimes with the videos, it'll be a URL, sometimes it'll be a picture, sometimes, but it's all the same. They're videos. In this case, there's 3 of them for next week. And then there's lecture for chapter 2 and an online quiz. Tells you that lab 2 is in class. So this is your, and then if you click on the folder, if I click on that, it's going to tell me, so it tells me that that's the Learn Smart activity. So then you might say, well, where's the quiz? Well, if I go back out and I go scroll down, I see the quiz right there, online quiz 2. Now in this case, for week 2, I believe, if my memory serves me, it's the only quiz that is not in Connects. It's actually in Blackboard. So when I click on this, it's going to look different. If I'm, okay, yes. So this quiz, when you see this, it's actually in Blackboard itself. So you're just going to begin and you're going to take it and then submit it, save and submit, and it'll be right in Blackboard automatically. Okay. So that's the only one that I can think of this semester that's not in Connect. Okay, is for week 2. But the same information applies. You can print this out, it has multiple attempts, it says it right there. You know, the quizzes are designed to be twofold. One, they're to pull out the important information so that you're not spending all your time looking at the wrong information. And 2, they're designed to be a quiz so that you can have points for doing what you're supposed to do. All right, so I think I've covered different things in Connect, what things look like, kind of the order. So again, I will go back to week 1 because I do want to make sure that everyone understands. I've had a question earlier about the layout of the class. So I'm student Jen. I come over, I've purchased my Connects account, I've gone to the Start Here, I've read through everything, printed out my lab, signed it, dated it, read the syllabus, taken the syllabus quiz. Now I'm ready to begin this week's material. I go to week 1 and I say, well, you know, instead of spending all my time, I'm going to go right into the Connect folder and I'm going to take the quiz, and I'm going to see what I know. And then from there, I may do the reading, or I may go back into the folder and do the, maybe I'm more of a PowerPoint person because I can print those out. I want to, I like videos. I want to watch the videos, whatever. And from week to week, again, I'll tell you, this week you're going to definitely want to watch the videos, or you're going to definitely want to read this, or et cetera, et cetera. This week is very general. Chapter 1 is very general. So some of you are going to find it very deceivingly easy, I guess is the way I want to put it. But it's a nice way to kind of get into biology. And remember that Biology 101 is very broad. And so there are going to be many topics that, and again, that's why I have Connect set up the way that I do, because you really could spend all day reading and learning about biology because it's the study of life and it's all around us. But we need to narrow it down so that we get the most bang for our buck per se. Okay, out of what we're both doing. And in terms of navigating through Blackboard, you know that you can look at your grades under My Grades. These are course tools. This is just another icon for the syllabus. Tools, and if there's assignments, there's a help function. Under discussion board, if you look under discussion board, you will find the first discussion board, and really the only discussion board, which is right here. Okay, and you just go in and you click on it, and it gives you all the instructions right here. I won't read those. You can read them. It tells you the due dates, etc. Somebody's already gone in and posted. Yay! This is a student lounge, so basically the idea behind student lounge, I mean, you guys are seeing people on a weekly basis, but if it's in between those times, then if you want to write each other, ask a question, talk about things, you can do it in student lounge. If you need some kind of issues, if you're having trouble with something, you can come into here. We can both professors for each class, all professors, I guess, have access to this. So, and it will tell us if somebody's posted, it tells us right here. Okay. So I think that's about it. In terms of contacting your professor, both classes have these functions. Looks like we need to add Professor Rhodes in here. All right. Well, I think that's all, but his information is also on the syllabus. Okay. And in the other class in section 2, Professor Neal's information is in here as well. So, I feel like all I've done is talk. So, anyways, if you have any other questions, you can write us. And again, I will be handling the majority of the lecture portions of these classes, both the 101 classes. And Professor Neal will be handling the lab for 101 Section 2, and Professor Rhodes the lab for Bio 101 Section 1. All right. Well, have a great week. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, please email me. I'm usually pretty good about emailing back. And you will see my bright and shiny face not too far in the future. Have a great day and a great week.